Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube.com. This is Travis Semulin Sowers, and we haven't done a Chaos Draft in a while, so I thought we'd do one here. Let's jump in and have some fun. I haven't done it in so long, I forgot what to click to start it. All right, so in Chaos Draft, we're focusing on individual card power level. You can't really look for synergies, although some might come up. So I think having opened a powerful Planeswalker, we're going to take it. This is a card draw engine and a potential alternate win condition. It's also probably the best card in this pack. This is from War of the Spork. We've got other cards that are acceptable. Kasmina's Transmutation wasn't very good there, but probably is good in Chaos Draft. Paradise Druid should be good for ramp and fixing. Flyers are obviously just good. The Reaver gives you 2 creatures for 1 card. It's like a better Raise the Alarm. But yeah, we'll start with a Planeswalker and see where this takes us. If we can get into blue and stay in blue, this would be fantastic. I'd like that very much. We're passing to the Mana Leak, who is also streaming this. So if you're watching on YouTube and want to see what the Mana Leak was drafting as well, you can go to his Twitch page and watch the replay. If you'd like to watch me drafting live Monday through Friday, you can do so at www.twitch.tv/Semulin. All right, we've got an M21 pack here. This is a little tough because I feel like one of the better cards here is the Visionary in a vacuum. And you can see how some cards get worse, right? Like the Houndmaster, you're not likely to find the other pieces to go with it. It's still a fine card if you're red-white. We could look at the Tide Skimmer and see if we could get into blue something flying, which I like. Liliana's Devotee is kind of just a better card. Like it's a 2/3 with an activated ability that's not bad. So it's kind of how hard do we want to force this Jace idea? I feel like it's not that difficult for me to find more flyers, so I'm going to go with the Tide Skimmer. It's a little rough because if blue gets cut, let's say that Sid and Techno Shaman are in blue, we may end up not getting to play either of these. But blue flyers is a solid strategy in Chaos Draft. You can do blue-white skies, alternatively blue-black skies, or you can just do blue-green ramp with some flyers. This pack leaves a little bit to be desired because we don't have any flyers, we don't have any great blue cards. We've got Pirate's Prize, which is okay card draw. This is also an Ixalan pack, so like it's worth being aware that like the power level in Ixalan was very low. The set was a little bit focused on tribal synergies, so it's going to get worse when you start looking at these cards on their own. The Ruthless Knave isn't crazy. You don't need too much treasure for that to work, but I'm tempted to just take the Wayfinder as the best card and see if we end up in green. In Chaos Draft, as in regular drafts, I feel like it's really around pick 5 that you start to see what's actually open. There's some good cards in Ixalan packs. I don't think they're toxic for Chaos. What's up, Fuzzy? All right, we got a Zendikar Rising pack. This one has a field research. I don't mind the card draw. I don't think I'm going nuts for a 3-mana 3/3. I would like some 3/1s in the deck, but this leaves us open to the possibility of still getting to play all our blue cards. So I'm going to gobble that up. And the Wayfinder is like a might play, not a must play. May have picked that too fast. We got to wait for everybody else to make their picks, but that was a pretty easy one for me. All right, we've got a Combine Guild Mage. That is very relevant to my interests. So basically, this is a 2-mana 2/2, And if you happen to have an extra 2 mana when you play something else, you can start putting counters on it. You can also move counters around potentially. It can make combat a nightmare for your opponent. I'm somewhat interested in this Carrion Imp because we've seen some indications that black's open, but frankly, this is enough to push me into Simic. Like, I get this plus the Wayfinder. And this is a mana sink I love on a 2 mana 2/2. Like, it's just a solid way to generate value. So I feel like we're doing it here. Good old Honey Mammoth, huh? No way I could get that to work right. Well, this is a 6 mana flyer. What are we missing from this pack? Like, we're missing an opportunity to branch into another color potentially. I don't hate the Honey Mammoth, but I'd need a lot of ramp to want to play it. I don't think I'm going to get there on the fixing for this, but if I did, I'd be pretty happy about it. That may still be too much for me. But I just feel like the upside's there. I guess I could take this, but sure, we'll see. I don't think we're Genesis ultimatuming, but we could. Ooh, I really want the Thornwood Falls, but I also really want the Protege. One of my favorite things to have access to, particularly in a low power limited format, is a looter. I'd really like the good fixing because we're looking to play triple green and green blue. So like if we were just drafting M21, I'd probably take the land over the Protege because I probably want one Protege, but we're not. There's no guarantee that there's even another M21 pack that's going to be opened. So I think I need to grab it. If we wanted to go in for the ultimatum, we could take Meteorite, which is not bad, but I really like looters in Chaos Draft. These cards I don't like so much. I don't think we're going to look to get in shenanigans with the Larcenist. There's nothing wrong with the Titanic Growth. And it's looking like we're getting some Ground Pounders. I don't love Jeskai Elder either. The Gnarled Sage could be an okay reach blocker if we want to go into like defending things. But I think I'm going to take the Growth and probably not play it. But it's not a card I mind having access to. We're not even hard committed to green at this point. Stealth Mission came back. Return to Nature came back. Gideon's Triumph is here. This is actually a pretty decent removal spell. Farmine's Vessel doesn't help us get to the Genesis Ultimatum, but it is a solid rock. That said, I think I want to try Gideon's Triumph. Because like if we get shoved out of green, that's fine. We can play this. And there's so much artifact and enchantment removal in green throughout the sets, I think we'll probably find it. Like this, so target opponent sacrifices a creature that attacked or blocked this turn. Yeah, we may be moving into white. Because this is like a solid creature anyway, and it would help us get the flyer count up for the skimmer. So there's something you can do with Gideon's Triumph that I don't think a lot of people know if you set your stops properly. And that is, you block in such a manner that you kill the things that you can kill, and then after that's done, but before combat is over, you cast the Triumph, and they still have to sacrifice something. None of this is particularly good. Yeah, most of these are not even really playable in limited, but if somebody's playing super big stuff, I would side in an Altasaur, I guess. And I'm still kind of torn between what our second color is. The Guild Mage is by itself is better than the Triumph and the Pegasus, but the fact that we might get other white cards is leaving me open to them. It's unlikely we play all of the colors. Anticognition is going to be worse in this set than it is in its home set because you don't have that ability to mill your opponent consistently. I say while I have a Jace, but like, come on. That said, I still think we take it here because every set has tons of 3/1s, and I want to make sure we have enough blue playables. Keeper of Sorrows was not great, but it's certainly playable. Keeper of Sorrows, Knight of Sorrows. And main several. Yeah, we're getting white pieces rather than green pieces late. Like if we're looking to go in the air, a 1/4 blocker's not bad. So we may have found our way into blue-white. I suspect that what that means is that either green is open this direction, which is a possibility that we get into it, but specifically green-blue isn't. Or green-blue is open, but green isn't. And it's kind of another decision point here. I famously poo-pooed Llanowar elves a lot in Dominaria, but this is not Dominaria. Wild Onslaught's also pretty dang good. Marwyn, I don't think we would want, but we might wheel. I think the Llanowar elves is the pick out of this pack. And prepare to maybe move back into green. Yeah, this is a tough one. There's not a blue or white card that's contending with these, so we just take the elves and move along. I'd have preferred to take a good blue flyer there, but we don't have one. Rum Gully is really, really powerful. What are the chances we could make that work? I don't think it's asking that much. It's asking me to skip on a witching well, which I don't mind. Like, I'm not looking to be Gruul, but we're not playing that many humans anyway, right? Like, it's just the protege currently. I'm going to need to really prioritize fixing if we're going to try to make that work, but I would love to make that work. That's an acceptable 2-drop that kind of plays with the counter theme we've got going here and here. I don't think it's likely we're going to get to play the ultimatum. I also don't mind the aesthetic, just having a big stabilization play. But I think we're beginning to get enough counter shenanigans that I can make this work. I have to take the next duel I see. We also don't really have a lot of interaction, which is unfortunate, but sometimes difficult to come by in Chaos Draft. And I don't have to play the Grum Gully. I could still splash a Gideon's Triumph if we were like just desperate for removal. I hope that's not where we end up, but it might be. The downside of the Dauntless Survivor is it's a human, so it's not really doing anything here, but it does come with a counter that we could potentially move around. It's not the fixing that I want. I could see us playing the Divner, but I feel like I want to make sure we have something to ramp into with this Llanowar Elves, and I'd probably prioritize another ramp spell. There is a Pounce, which is okay, but it's kind of difficult for us to do something with that because our creatures are pretty small. But I think I just want a big creature here. I feel like splashing for the Grim Gully is going to be pretty easy. Splashing for the Ultimatum would be pretty difficult, especially when we're halfway through Pack 2 and don't have any fixing. Like, if I get another looter effect, frankly, I may not even need that. I've got a looter and 2 card draw effects. I could just play 18 lands. Yeah, I've got a looter, 2 card draw effects, and a mana sink. There's no reason not to be playing 18 lands. This goes a long way, though. We definitively need the fixing. So catching some here is really good for us. Steadfast Sentry is really good, too. Like, there's a possibility we could think about that and just give up on this particular plan. You could almost think about taking the Griffin Protector, too, but I think I want to try this. It looks fun. We're close on playables, because I could jam in the anti-cognition if I needed to as well. All right, what have we got here? Counterspell with Cycling, that's not the worst. Essence Symbiote is kind of just a 2-drop for us. A Crusty Station, not great. It's a Volcupede. This makes me sad. Because white's actually what's open here, not green. All right, let's take our lumps. I think I got to get out of green. I'm just getting cut too much. And I've got tons of playable white cards down here. I'd say there's a strong chance we just abandon all of these green picks. I don't like it. We could still play the Temple of Mystery for value, but it's not much value. River Darter's fine. It's not exciting. The Revenant's the best card here. This still leaves open the potential of green-blue. It may flow pack 3, but it didn't really flow pack 1, did it? Like, we got past pack 1, what did we get? This? I don't think we're going to see green in the next pack. Like, realistically, I think this is what we're putting together. Like, I can play a Revitalize if I have to. I can play a Knight if I have to. Anti-Cognition's fine. Labyrinth Guardian's absurd. I don't know why it's still here, but I'm very happy to see it. Destined Elite is also really good, but this is a solid pickup for us. And it still does leave open that possibility of the Teamer deck, but no, we haven't really seen any other fixing either. So I'm not super hopeful about that. I think we're just going to be in blue-white skies and deal with it. Now we must deal with it. Aether Glider came back. I'm not actually too down on playing that. Like, it sucks that it can't block, but I've got some pretty good blockers early. I don't think we want an Artificer's Assistant. And I need to get the flyer count up if we're going to play this, because I would need to make the Skimmer do something. So I think we're on Aether Glider here. What does this do? Nothing. Okay. But there's a random 3-2. Sure. Come on in, random 3-2. I suspect Anti-Cognition and Revitalize make our cut. The Altasaur may as well. Like, our plan is kind of looking like medium flyers. I really wanted it to be more interesting things, but... Yeah, but I think it's too far away for us to consider doing that. Man, practice tactics, not great. Yeah, I'm not getting... I have too many playable white cards not to play them. You can play this too. Like, it's another mana sink. It's not great, but you can play it. Like, the only good green cards that we got, we picked very early. I picked the Llanowar Elves, the Wayfinder, and the Dreadmaw pretty early. Like, Dauntless Survivor's fine, but it's not doing anything. So, like, we're getting past decent white cards, and we're just not getting past decent green cards. So, like, 2-drops are covered now. But something about Chaos Draft that's a little different than regular draft. But this is, well, no, it's just an easy eagle. In a regular draft, the draft formats are focused a lot around synergy. So you can pick up a couple of cards that aren't great on their own, but play well together. Right? So the synergy is just missing in Chaos Draft. You're going to have to look really hard to find synergy. So you have to evaluate the cards on their own, which means one of the reasons I like Chaos Draft so much is it kind of recreates what it was like to draft 20 years ago, because all of a sudden you have to figure out what's open just to get to playables. Yeah, the Eagle's a really good pickup for us. We're very happy to see that. But like, we're going to get to playables with this deck. Our interaction's going to suck, but I can deal with it. And we can get some interaction out of this anti-cognition, which I'm not opposed to. I'm still going to play the Temple just for scry value. Octopus could do some work for us. So could... Actually, the Checkpoint Officer could do a lot of work for us. God, I want this pack. If I could have this whole pack, we're in business. I can't have this whole pack, though. I really like the Officer in Chaos Draft. Yeah, we could easily play 8 cards out of this pack. All right, I'm probably going to get there on playables. I think I'm most likely to be able to wheel the Caprador, which I would play, and the Tranquil Cove, which means I'm going to take the Evolving Wilds. I'm looking to try to play a triple blue card. We need to be realistic there. Man. Okay, we got in the right colors. That's good news. I really want to play a 3/3 Flash Flyer, and I also really want to play a 5-mana 3/4 Flyer. But what can this deck not currently do? Can you tell? We can't kill anything. If our opponent resolves something that's going to win the game for them, we just lose to it. Banishing Light means potentially we don't do that. Yep, this is more likely to wheel. If we're the only one in the table that's in blue-white, we'll wheel this. Even if we're not, we might get back an Elephant or a Scholar, which we'd probably play, and I need this Banishing Light. I have one removal spell, and it's conditional. So that sucks, because I'd really like to be taking those, but I can't. The good news is there's at least a couple people that aren't interested in big blue-white flyers. What does this one do? Tap something, draw a card, create 2 Thopters. I like Slimebind. I also like instant speed 2 Thopters because that could play nicely with the Skimmer and nicely with the Eagle. And the flex, like, this is basically 4 mana, create 2 flyers, or cycle, prevent 3 damage. Like, that seems pretty good. I think I actually prefer this. It'll make our counterspell a little better too, which I think we're probably playing. Sphinx's Insight is solid card draw. Do we need solid card draw? No, we need more flyers so that we can maximize this. Yeah, I think I'm down for the Griffin here. I think we'd play this if it wheels. But I think we need to just grab the flyers we can get. That's a nice, easy to cast flyer for us. I mean, it kind of is in a lot of situations, isn't it, Amorphic? Like, scrying is one of those things that adds solid value to your deck that you may not initially notice. Well, that's good news. We got the Watcher. Watcher's great. So, like, here's the situation where I really would have liked to have had that Sphinx earlier, but taking the land and the removal spell leaves us free to take this now. Like, we figured out what was open. It was blue-white. And we're going to get there on playables, which is great news. I think I like the anti-cognition a little bit better now that I've got 2 other instants that I can kind of hide with it. I guess technically these as well, but I'm going to be a lot more selective about what we use the Banishing Light on. Like, the Raise the Alarm plays pretty nicely with the Eagle too. I dig that. Dovin's a cutie. I might could play a Gateway Snack even without any gates. Because we're not going to get anything going off of Dovin's Acuity. We could also just play a 6 mana 6/6 defender, and if we flood out, bigify it. Like, again, we're not going to have any gates for this, but a 1/3 that can potentially draw a card seems okay. Yeah, that's an option too. I think we could get value out of this. We've got a tap spell. It's at least something that your opponents have to respect. Judge's Familiar. This blinks historic spells, huh? So we could reset the counters on Jace. We could get this out from under a pacifism. It's a 3/3 flash. I don't think I like all that. I think I'd rather just have a 4 mana 2/2 flyer. It's not as exciting as some of the other cards we've seen, but it's something we can play. We're getting very... Ooh, Leaving the Dust is nice. This is Into the Royal. This is Into the Royal. It's just easier to cast, and you have to kick it. I'm pretty happy to see that. If that Raff wheels, we're in business. I don't think it will. But we could look at cutting this and upgrading it significantly. Okay, we didn't wheel the Raff. Oh, no. That's the next one, isn't it? Not Wrath. Raff. No W. And F's at the end. But this is what we were looking to wheel out of this one. We said we could wheel the Cove or the Caprador. So yeah, we've managed to get 3 non-basics in too, which is a pretty big pickup. Raff. Got him. See you later. Something. We're the only one in blue-white at the table. Well, they weren't that rich. The thing was we read the table. We figured out what was open. It was blue-white. We drafted blue-white. We got rewarded. Like, we thought we were potentially going to get into green for a while, but it was not open to us. We even got this here Scuttlegator. Yeah, we've got too many playables. This is great. We probably don't have to play some of the medium 3s. All right, let's generate brackets so that people will have them. I can build my deck first. They got to build their decks too. A hard draft to focus on? What do you mean? I think we did pretty good there. We do have a Stream Raiders battle to do. Let's knock that out too. Oh, yeah, fair enough. I am somewhat distracted by that as well, Techno Shaman. For those of you watching on YouTube, there is a fascist takeover attempt happening in the United States right now. It's pretty scary. All right, Simwife with the kills, Jacques with the assists, rewards for Orcish Abe and Terp. Boop. All right, so let's get in here and finish out this deck. So this is currently looking at 14 lands. We want to get this up to at least 17. I may want to play 18. There's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We would want to go heavier on blue. This would be with 17. I think I can play 17 here because I didn't really want to play the anti-cognition anyway. I wasn't particularly excited about the River Darter. And I didn't really want the familiar. So, like, this looks fine to me. We could consider not having the Scuttle Gator in here and just playing the other flyer anyway. I might like that better. I could probably use one more 2-drop, but I don't have one. I don't think I need something like Revitalize to cycle. We're not really looking to do that. I'm not looking to mill myself out and win with Jace, but I mean, we could. There's a decent amount of card draw here. And I've got this to cycle early if I need it to. I think I'm comfortable with 17, even with the looter, because it's only one looter. But I think I can get behind this. All right, in hopes for a better future for America, I will use my America flag sleeves. All right, I'm going to pause the YouTube recording, get the brackets up, and then we can get some games going. All right, here we go for round one. That'll work. I can make something happen with this. It feels a little laggy. Also, I don't have the music on. I wonder why it feels so laggy. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I need to hit land drops. We may just cycle this. I should be able to block all of this with the Protege and be pretty fine. I hope so, at least. A removal spell there would be a lot of damage from them, so that's a little scary. That's rough, but not unbeatable. So I can take 3 and then probably trade off my Griffin for that and then look to stabilize the following turn. So I really hate to trade off the Protege here, but I think it's the right call. There's some possibility they just attack with the 3/3. Or excuse me, just attack with the 2/2. I could also just jam the glider here, except that I'm taking another 5, well, 4 technically, and then look to stabilize with this. But I think this hand with the card draw it has already kind of just wants to be blocking, if possible. That scry into an island is fine by me. It means I can definitely hit the mist next turn. And we're up against the mist, so playing a Watcher again in the mist seems like a good idea. Yeah, they don't have anything if they're just attacking with that. That's good news. We can bin any extra lands we see here because we shouldn't need additional ones. I don't need an Evolving Wilds. Do I need a Caracal? I mean, it actually looks like a pretty decent blocker here, and I could go Caracal, Glider, tap land, and then refill. I think I'm okay with that. I am going to need to trade this off for the crocodile unless they augment it, in which case I'll probably just die. Main deck Flyer hate, huh? Main deck Travis hate. Well, if you're dead and you know it, clap your hands. So what are we even looking to do here? I'm out, man. I was not ready for this. It does explain why the green was not open. But this can't block. That's a problem. This is hexproof. That's a bigger problem. Yeah, playing out those two is no longer good enough. I'm going to have to draw something and chump block with this. I shouldn't have played the land first, because it's possible I draw into a 2 or something, but I think we're just dead. Hexproof is good times, yo. Yeah, we passed that. We passed a lot of the cards that they're playing. And they've got a Severed Strands on top. That one's game over, man. Game over. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that trades for the Gator, but we need to have it or we're in serious trouble. We've got this Knight of the Keep, which I think is pretty handy. I also think I'm a little more interested against them in cards like the Crustacean and potentially even the Scuttle Gator, because I need to be able to, like, survive. I think I want the Altasaur and the Scuttle Gator. I don't think I can afford to have creatures that can't block. And I don't think the Gateway Sneak is going to do me any good here either. This is bloody terrifying. Well, we also saw that they have a ram through, which could get a lot of the stuff that we have that is being played. Like they've already shown us ways to get this to 6 power, as well as a Severed Strands, and they're in black. So I think it's reasonable to assume they have a reason to be in black, which is probably a couple unconditional kill spells. But I'm not going to, like, heavily sideboard around the thought that they can't do anything. ACOG could be okay here, but probably not at its best. I don't think the snake's doing much, but I really need to cut a 4. So let's cut a 4. Yeah, but they're playing green. They're going to have 6 power creatures as well. Like I don't think that's exactly the right way to attack this matchup. The main deck Fell the Pheasants, though, was pretty brutal. Okay. This isn't pretty. But we have one of the cards that can actually kill their Gator in hand. I like that. I'd also like to be able to survive long enough to play it, but... I have to kill this. I don't want to, but if we're going to try to block things with the Altasaur, this has to be my way through. And we're going to try to block stuff with the Altasaur. Still don't understand why this doesn't have reach. It's a brutal mind drain. We should still be okay, though, because there's a ton of card draw in this deck. So as soon as we hit some of it, we're back in business. They've also missed a land drop. Can you guys tell that this is incredibly laggy? I'm not entirely sure what's causing that, but I intensely dislike it. Can't really do much about that, but we can potentially offer a trade here, flash Raffin, get that. There's some options. The Eagle gets us an attack this turn, which isn't terrible, and uses all of our mana, which I also like. I think I'm going to go for that. Because I can always trade this with something else later and be pretty happy. Hello. I think trading the Eagle for the Acolyte would be fine when we've got more air power. Derposaurus is okay. Priest of the Forgotten Gods is bloody terrifying. That is bad news bears. I want to make sure we have enough stuff that we can sacrifice casually. Because that priest hurts. I was doing good things with this priest in Cube. Cube, I tell you. We can kill whatever they're ramping into, but they've got more stuff to sacrifice to continue to get us here. I was hoping we would draw a land last turn so we could play the Guardian and flash in Wrath, but we are not currently able to do that. It's not the end of the world because it can be blocked here. This is 4 damage a turn, which is pretty scary. Into more flyer hate. This is not the turn that we needed this land. We needed it last turn. So options that we have are use the Blessed Light to take out the Priest of the Forgotten Gods, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. That still leaves me not great blocks against the Derposaur. But I could potentially flash back the Labyrinth Guardian and get it. I think this is what's going to kill me. And I think I want it gone. Because right now we're taking for a turn, and I could eventually stabilize. I think that's the best one. but I don't think there's any good options. The lag is also kind of driving me nuts. Show me something good, because we need it. It's not really good enough. All right, so current plan is to double block this, take another 4. I didn't say it was a good plan, but it is the plan that we have. And we've got the opportunity to loot with the protege, finally. Because I may end up having to trade Raph off with this. They got too many dudes. Because I think I have to trade the protege and the token for the 2/2. When you have only one plan, that's the best plan. Yeah. Truth. I expect to see all of these swing. I was not scared of this initially, but I am becoming quite scared of it now. Not a bad spot to hit a land. All right, so we've got Raph to deal with that. This to block anything else that attacks. This to block that. If they've got nothing else, we're dead on board. So we still need to draw here. And that counts as something else. I believe we are definitively dead on board right now. Unless they have a lot of trouble mathing. Nope. They do not have trouble mathing. That was a really rough matchup for us. All right, boys and girls of YouTube, sometimes you organize a draft and get wrecked in the first round. It can certainly happen. I think we read the table correctly. And I especially wheeling the Raph, I think we were the only person that was in blue-white. But I think that was a particularly difficult matchup for us to win. Good games to the Mist. Thank you guys and gals for tuning in. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more Chaos drafts or you'd rather just watch the traditional Zendikar drafts. Good games, Mist. Because I'm happy to do either. I just would like to produce the content that you would like to watch on the YouTubes. Thank y'all for tuning in. YouTube, we will see you next time. Chat, don't worry. We've got this spicy Zendikar draft to finish up.